after 3 days at a truly relentless pace, devouring miles at near record speeds, 520, 530, 550 miles, in a seemingly single bite. The top leaders of the Vendee Globe fleet continue to stay ahead of the depression while at the same time their pursuers are dropping off the back of the system, as was expected. And so the expectation is that the leaders will continue to multiply their margins. Behind them, cracks become gaps, become chasms. The gap is already growing notably after the top 9, and that will become more pronounced between now and the rounding of the Cape of Good Hope late on Friday. Those behind who are dropping off the back will need to wait for the next low-pressure train, but meantime, race leader Charlie Dalin, MACIF, Santé Prévoyance, and his closest rivals will continue to race in sustained winds before gybing south to work the Antarctic Exclusion Zone. The race directors have decided to drop the AEZ south by almost 100 miles, at least, to the Crozet Archipelago, which will allow them to now sail a shorter route, at the same time being able to better exploit the depressions, which are running further to the south. Dalin and the lead posse have been sailing 500 miles in each 24-hour increment, living life at a hellish pace. It's tough mentally, and at the same time it pushes you to keep up the pace, commented Sebastian Simon, Group du Broy, in fourth, at 90 miles behind Dalin. The depression that we are on seems to be reducing. Some will not manage to stay on its back, while on our side we will find ourselves right in it, detailed Simon, who is anticipating another tough, fast night on the edge. It's tough mentally, and at the same time it pushes you to keep up the pace. The wind will be strong but also very gusty. We will have to go fast in a sea that will build. It will be quite intense, said Simon, who hopes to take advantage of the winds generated by the tightly packed low for as long as possible before being overtaken by it, and then jibing towards the south to avoid being caught by the rebuilding St. Helena anticyclone. But their route is opened as race management has chosen to reduce the Antarctic Exclusion Zone, AEZ, this imaginary ring fence drawn around the Antarctic continent, drawn by 72 GPS points separated by 5 degrees each, prohibited to skippers for their safety. What motivated this decision? At the time of the start and during the first days of the race, CLS, which provides the Vendee Globe with its expertise in processing radar and altimetric satellite data, and in modeling ocean currents to detect the presence and predict the drift of icebergs, had reported echoes close to the zone. Since then, new satellite images have made it possible to identify these echoes are fishing boats, and in fact the icebergs and growlers are located quite far away. We have decided to reduce the AEZ by almost 100 miles to the Crozet Archipelago, explained Fabian Deli, who could, with the other members of the race direction team, decided in time to also change this zone after the Kerguelen Islands. This change will allow us to start the Indian Ocean well, but also shorten the theoretical route a little, enthused Sebastian Simon, echoing the thoughts of most competitors, even if most of them are thinking of other things right now. For those who have fallen off the back of the train, the conditions suddenly become very turbulent in terms of unsettled, shifting winds and seas. Unlike the boats in front who are ahead of the depression, we are just behind. So we are suffering a little from its torments, but we are making progress, commented Louis Burton, Bureau Valley, who is unhappy not to be up with the leaders. Pip Hare in 16th on Medallia found the conditions tough last night, dropping suddenly out of the wind band to be caught under a cloud. The somewhat random course for a few hours gave some cause for concern, but she explained, "I had a pretty calamitous night. We are sailing along next to a massive front just to the south of us. Early evening the wind just died completely and filled back in from 180 degrees. The front was bulging up and I sailed under a cloud. And I was there for 4.5 hours. Every time I got to the edge of the cloud I thought, yes, I am going to pop out, but the wind would change direction, and by the time I had the sails on the right side I was back under it again. My arms hurt so much and I have not slept at all. I am almost scared to sleep. And I feel so dumb. I am beating myself so much. But I know I can't stay in this place. I need to move on. This is a long, long race. And later she added, I have a winch which I have to rebuild in daylight hours when the boat is doing 22.5 knots, and so I am prioritizing that. That is the thing with this race, is that a small problem can escalate really quickly, and so every time you see a technical issue, you need to give yourself the time and space to fix it before it escalates. I can't imagine what the rest of this race is going to be like, even passing the Cape of Good Hope and heading down into the Big South. But now I need to be back to the toolbox. Now I have Damien Seguin 2 miles ahead of me. I can see him, and so not only am I trying to fix this winch, I am trying to maintain a bit of pressure on him too.
So we're sending it. Maybe just a little bit too much.
Hi everyone, cheers on the evening of the 17th day at sea. Everything is going well today. I didn't have to do too many maneuvers. We were moving fast for the most part of the day. Had a little light wind section earlier, so I was able to check through the whole boat. Didn't find anything suspicious, so congrats to the team. An amazing achievement of preparation. 17th day at sea, there's not a single scratch whatsoever. Everything is working well and no problems. So that's a very good effort. Team Alicia, great achievement. And we are also, it's also a good day because it's sunny and the sea is blue and there's nice action here, the waves you see. It is going fast. We were averaging 25 times and we were doing 34 knots during our press conference earlier today. And I saw 27 knots of wind. That's when I took the reef. You see the mainsail doesn't go all the way to the top. And the rest, the bottom of the sail is folded into this bag. And if the wind stays light like at this moment, then I might take the reef back out. Here you see a sail. All the sails are actually in the back. All the weight is stacked aft. And so to get the bow a little bit up above the waves. It's nice to have the company of the girls, Clarisse and Justine. I just heard them on VHF chatting and we are writing a bit as well. I see at least Clarisse on AIS and it gives me the feeling of being in the middle of a match and not all alone on an ocean. And it makes the race less virtual. So I still don't see them, it's just a transponder mark on the computer. But nevertheless, it's a great thing to have people close around. And that's the news from today. I hope you're doing good at home. And thanks for following. Thanks for the comments. Again, very cheerful. Good day here today, and we keep up this. We plan to keep up this for the next 24 hours as well. Talk tomorrow. Bye. Cheers.
Hello, another sunny day down in the South Atlantic. It's still a bit wet. Last night was a bit nicer than the night before. I managed to get some sleep. And the wind's back up today, so we got a little bit of a front coming through, or we got to go through one later. So we've got the small sails up. And still trying to find the balance of not too hard and trying to go fast. Going faster but slam harder, or not slam at all and not go very fast. There you go. I saw Jeremy Bayou this morning. He's 8 or 9 miles up there. He said he had a little bit of a sleep in, so I found myself next to him, and then he woke up and went faster again. so I haven't seen him since. But I'm still happy. I think I'm 7th, which is it's not as good as the first 2 weeks, but I'm in the right pack in one piece, so that's the main thing. We're not even in the Southern Ocean yet, so it's a long way to go. Sit and use some sound for today. See ya.
So we're in a bit of a light spot, and I'm using the opportunity to just check inside the foil cases, and I'm just looking for chafe on lines, any kind of damage to the structure, looking at the bearings, just making sure it's all right before we hit accelerate again. Taking the hatch off. Let's just go inside. Here is super useful having a camera with you, because you can use it to see places I can't get to, and just looking all around under there. Oh, that looks okay. Go up in the other side, but we'll check the head of that one there. All the lines to the tunnel and the jammers. It's the not so glamorous side of what we do. Taking every opportunity to just make sure everything's okay, and crawling into tiny, black, sweaty spaces. Good morning from Onboard Medallia. It's another beautiful morning. Could do with a few more knots of wind, but at least we've got wind. Last night was quieter than I expected, so kind of didn't make progress I was hoping, but in general I'm pretty happy with the last 36 hours. So all the investment I made to the west, that painful time of being down kind of ranked in the 30s, I banked all of that in the last 36 hours and have climbed up to 16th last time I looked, which means I'm kind of back in touch with the newer generation foilers, which is where I wanted to be. It's still so early days, but generally I feel a bit happier about that. Onboard is pretty good. I've spent the last 48 hours really giving my boat some attention. So it looks like we're going to be on this port tack for 5 days to a week at least. So I've taken the opportunity just to really go through the boat. Checks, bit of maintenance, and then last night I even climbed inside the foil case to check the foil. I just want to stay ahead of any issues that we might have. So when conditions get a little bit more wild, I'm not trying to battle problems or do maintenance. I'm feeling good. I'm much happier to have kind of made a good decision on my strategy, and I think I've found my pace and my rhythm. I've always said one of the great privileges about this sport is that for months on end, we have permission to be only focused on one thing, and my only job is to manage this environment. I need to give this my full attention, I need to give it my full creativity, I need to give it my full energy, and not really a lot else is expected of me, and that's just an immense privilege to be able to do that. And so yeah, I'm kind of leaning into that now and quite enjoying it. I am looking forward to today because it's I get to change my clothes today. Woohoo! Starting to feel a little bit grimy, but it's a clean clothes day, which means I'm definitely, if the conditions stay like this, I'm definitely going to grab a bucket of seawater and throw it over myself before I get some clean clothes, which will be nice. And yeah, all is good on Medallia. We're 8 degrees north and approaching where the doldrums normally are. And and that's the intertropical conversion zone. So it's an area where different winds, different climates meet, and there's a large amount of instability there as a result. And we can see this today in the form of clouds. So it's all about clouds today. There's a satellite image of, so there's the coast of Brazil down there, and there's Africa, and you can see all this cloud here, which is where the ICTZ is. And if we zoom in, so that dot there represents my position. So I'm just going in the kind of the hotter areas on the map are where the cloud is thicker, so it's higher, there's more rain in it, potentially more activity around it. So you can see I'm just entering to try and cross this area in the shortest distance possible, and we can see that outside. There you can see very heavy dark clouds there. So there's the sky I came from, and there we're heading into the Badlands. Lots of cloud there, so just need to be careful. The cloud activity can bring squalls, so sudden increases in wind strength, and also no wind at all. And on the radar here we can see that cloud up to the side, we can see it just there, and then ahead, look, there's a nasty little fella there, just there. So I'm going to do my best to avoid that, and I'll be looking at the radar for the next day or so just to try and keep on top of it. So we had quite a good run last night through the doldrums. I was pretty pleased with that. We just didn't stop, which was what was needed. I was looking really carefully at satellite images and trying to kind of weave my way down the clouds. We popped out the other side and I'm clawing away. Joining me for the countdown to the equator. Just under 1 mile to go and we will be in the southern hemisphere. Feels like it's been a bit of a slog getting down here, so we definitely need to celebrate this moment. We've got some tunes. I've got a parrot, and I don't normally do sacrifices to Neptune. Not really my thing, but I quite like the Southern Ocean to go well, so I'm going to hedge my bets. And I'm thinking all these French boats going across the equator, Neptune might be a bit sick of wine and champagne and all things alcoholic. So what have I got that really shows my respect for the ocean? That shows I really, really want this to work. Got a cup of tea and a piece of Grace's date cake, which I will share with the mighty Neptune.
Let's kick it off.
Here we go! Yes! We are in the Southern Hemisphere! Woo! Southern Hemisphere! Yes! Okay. Bye, Neptune. This is valuable. And I'm going to give you half a piece. As a token of my great respect, wash down with a cup of tea. Let's do this. Let's go to the Southern Ocean. So now I'm off the coast of Brazil. I know it seems crazy. We need to turn left at the bottom of Africa, but the fastest route is actually to go to Brazil and work our way around the St. Helena High rather than just going down the coast of Africa. And we've got about 3 or 4 days of conditions like this, which is just fast reaching. So for me, that's kind of a little bit limiting with my boat because my boat's 8 years old now. And I'm just I'm leading the pack of boats of my generation and nipping at the heels of the boats that are newer than me. But when it's just kind of straight line speed like this, I do suffer a bit. So I think the next week really is really important for me just to be good in my head, be rested, keep checking the boat, but also not punish myself if I'm losing miles against the front of the fleet. Because further down the track there'll be opportunity to make good tactical decisions, and that's where I hopefully will be able to gain some places again. It's hot, it's really hot down below, it's over 30 degrees, so trying to get any respite or any rest is very difficult, and you can see up on deck it's pretty wet, so even trying to kind of get out into the breeze to cool down, get wet and salty. So yeah, it's kind of Hodgson's choice really. The beautiful sunrise this morning, which is some sort of compensation for a frustrating half an hour. I went to do a sail change and my furling line broke again. It's the same one, I repaired it last time, but I'm going to have to replace it now. And you know, these things happen, but I've got 2 boats absolutely breathing down my neck. Doing 18 knots and I'm kind of doing 5, trying to sort this problem out, and obviously the gap gets smaller and we're pretty well matched on speed, so it's going to be hard to make that gap bigger again. These things happen and they're going to happen to everyone, and the way to deal with them is just to deal with them well. Make sure you solve the problem at the time, don't rush it, and try and keep a clear head. So that's what I'm trying to do. So my job for today is changing out a furling line. right now I'm going to have a cup of tea in the sunrise. So when I've been tidying ropes out that come out of the tunnels here for the last couple of days, on both sides I've noticed a really strong smell of dead fish, and I have looked everywhere for this sniffing dead fish. I mean, I've taken every rope out, I've looked in every pocket, cannot find the dead fish, but the smell is getting stronger. And then this morning I ran the engine for the first time in ages because I had to make water, and while I was here I thought I would open up the cathedral and have a look inside just to check everything. So you can see the water pouring down the cathedral there. So all those ropes go up through a hole on the deck. Water comes down, and evidently fish come down as well, because the smell in there is unbelievable. But I'm not opening it up now because it's a bit wet. So basically underneath there there's just a hole, and that hole down to the head of the keel, my arms aren't long enough to get in there. The water circulates through there, but through small slits on each side of the keel, so definitely not big enough for a dead fish to get through. So that fish is with me now, and it's only going to get worse.
1, 2, 3, c'est parti. Eh ben, écoutez, Neptune avec le nombre de bateaux qu'il y avait au Vendée Globe, Neptune était rassasié, donc il m'a demandé de retarder un petit peu les offrandes parce qu'il était, voilà, donc on y va. Allez, clac, clac, clac. Voilà. Et qui sont là? Ouchou, Jean et Ouchou au rappel. Bah oui. Eh ben, faut parfaire l'éducation des enfants. Hein, mes petits choux. Alors là, nous avons... Voilà, alors là, première chose. Une tartine de pain de la maison du boulanger à la Berbrac. Évidemment, du beurre de baratte locale et un emmental suisse, donc de chez Bernard. Allez, pour Neptune, hop. Et voilà, pour Neptune. Et n'oublions pas, le château Ténac. Alors, pas facile de filmer en même temps qu'on ébouche la bouteille. Alors, le fameux Saint-Julien Château Ténac 2018. Et comment tu t'en rappelleras? Tu te rappelleras mon bon souvenir, Neptune? Parce que là, quand même, c'est un peu scabreux. Allez, un petit peu, beaucoup, un petit peu pour le bateau, un petit peu, et puis voilà, et voilà. Donc voilà. Eh ben, écoutez, voilà les enfants, c'était le baptême, votre baptême de l'Équateur, Jean et Ouchou. Et voilà, clac, clac, clac. Bon, bah écoutez, hein, voilà, ça c'est fait. Et puis, on va dire bonne journée à tous. Et puis voilà, à plus dans le bus. Ciao.
Bonjour à tous. Bien, ça y est, on est dans la 3e semaine de course et là, on a un premier moment très stratégique puisque vous voyez, dans le groupe des leaders, ils ont quasiment tous réussi à se positionner dans un système de vent très favorable à l'avant d'un front lié à une dépression, vous voyez, dans le sud, et qui les pousse à haute vitesse en direction du cap de Bonne-Espérance. Tout le jeu consiste à rester devant ce front le plus longtemps possible, puisque devant ce front, la mer est plate, les vents soufflent du nord-ouest, donc c'est très propice aux hautes vitesses. C'est pour ça qu'on a vu 5 concurrents battre avant-hier le record de la plus longue distance parcourue en 24 heures en solitaire à bord d'un monocoque. Le dernier mot est revenu à Johan Richomme, qui a parcouru quasiment 580 000 en solitaire sur un monocoque. C'est absolument vertigineux. Mais le risque, c'est de se faire dépasser par ce système, et quand on passe derrière le front, le vent tourne au sud-ouest brutalement, et là, la mer devient croisée et beaucoup moins favorable pour aller très vite. Donc, le jeu, c'est vraiment d'essayer de rester le plus longtemps possible à l'avant de ce front. On sait qu'à un moment donné, l'élastique va se casser entre ceux qui vont réussir à rester devant et les suivants, en espérant qu'il se casse derrière Sam et pas devant Sam pour qu'elle puisse profiter de ces conditions très favorables en direction du cap de Bonne-Espérance le plus longtemps possible.